Elena Ramirez, the newly appointed female police chief, quietly entered the Los Angeles police station. Today, she chose to wear simple civilian clothes, blending in with the people passing by, with the desire to observe the officers in the most authentic way. But then, that peace quickly vanished when she witnessed a shocking scene. Daniels, a white officer, violently slammed a young black man to the ground, using excessive force right in the station's lobby. The entire room seemed to hold its breath, the raw truth about the dark corners of this place gradually being revealed. This isn't just about racial discrimination. It's a lesson about self-respect, about buried history, and about dignity. This story, you absolutely must listen to until the end. Elena didn't look like someone who had spent 2 decades climbing the ranks in the police force. That was her intention. The polished exterior of this police station concealed rumors of the office's arrogant demeanor. So Elena decided to go undercover to find out the truth. She believed in seeing things as they truly were, not through the glossy lens of scheduled meetings or rehearsed greetings. The police station parking lot buzzed with activity, officers hurrying to and from their duties. Elena observed the area, noting the fragmented conversations and probing glances. It was no surprise that no one recognized her, as her appointment had only been announced a few days prior, and she had decided to keep her arrival secret until the official inspection that morning. Elena adjusted the brim of her cap, taking a deep breath. The weight of her mission to expose the corruption and abuse of power that permeated the police station bore heavily on her shoulders. Elena understood the difficulties ahead, but she believed that this challenge would be quite different. As Elena approached the building, sounds of laughter and conversation echoed from within. She entered through the side entrance of the police station, blending into the flow of people. The cold tile floor reflected the stark white fluorescent lights, and the scent of stale coffee mingled with the faint smell of paperwork in the air. Elena walked slowly, observing the surrounding activities. Groups of officers gathered around desks, some exchanging information, others reviewing files. No one paid attention to her until she stopped near the break room. "Hey, you!" A sharp voice cut through the air. Elena turned to see a white officer approaching. A smirk plastered on his face. His badge read, "Officer Daniels." Behind him, several others leaned against the wall, watching with malicious amusement. Elena opened her mouth to speak, but Daniels didn't give her a chance. "Lost, are we? This isn't a place for vagrants," the officer said, his voice dripping with contempt. "You should leave before you tarnish this place." Elena froze, the words hitting her like a slap. She didn't know whether to reveal her identity immediately or continue observing. Daniels stepped closer, his voice deliberately louder so others could hear. "Are you deaf? Get out of here right now. We don't welcome people like you here." Mocking laughter erupted from the onlookers, and Elena gritted her teeth, her heart pounding. She struggled to maintain her composure, but Daniels was now inches from her face. Then, without warning, the officer spat directly into Elena's face. Time seemed to freeze. Elena held her breath as the slimy saliva dripped down her cheek. Around her, laughter erupted like thunder. One officer slammed his hand on the table, bending over with laughter, while another muttered derogatory remarks about teaching those scumbags a lesson. Elena's head spun, her heart pounded as if it would burst, but she struggled to remain calm. She pulled a handkerchief from her pocket, slowly wiping her face, each movement controlled. "Is this how you treat everyone who walks in here?" she asked, her voice calm but resolute. Daniels sneered, "Only those who don't belong here." The group burst into laughter again, but Elena remained silent. She turned and walked quickly down the hallway, leaving the officers behind, heading straight for the police chief's office. An announcement blared, calling all personnel to the meeting room. It was time. The meeting room buzzed with lively chatter as officers filed in, some holding coffee cups, others chuckling over shared jokes. Elena entered through a side door, carrying a thick file with the police department's crimson seal emblazoned on its cover. She stood hidden behind the door, observing the room filled with familiar faces, a few still smirking about the earlier incident. At the front of the room, Captain Harris, a middle-aged man with a thick mustache, called for order. "All right, everyone settle down. We have a special guest today." The room fell silent, curiosity evident on every face. Daniels leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his arrogant expression unchanged. Clearly, he was still enjoying his morning. Captain Harris cleared his throat. Like you all know, Chief Caldwell left last month. We waited for the new boss. I'm happy to tell you, it's someone with great experience, who can lead us well. Elena walked up. She walked slowly. The room was very quiet. Everyone looked at her. She put a file on the table and looked around the room. She was calm. This made everyone feel more tense. Daniel's smile disappeared. He turned pale. He understood something. The other police officers looked at each other. Some talked quietly. Others looked at Elena with surprise. Good morning. Elena began, her voice sharp. My name is Elena Ramirez. From today, I am your new police chief. Silence enveloped the room. Daniel's face flushed crimson. His arrogant demeanor completely vanished. Elena's gaze lingered on him, holding a moment longer than necessary, before sweeping across the rest of the room. When I arrived this morning, I was in plain clothes because I wanted to observe the department in its most authentic state. What I witnessed was truly appalling. A murmur spread through the crowd, but Elena raised a hand, signaling for silence. Since I arrived, I've witnessed actions that not only lack professionalism but also severely violate departmental discipline. I declare from now on, the culture of tolerating misconduct here will cease immediately. The entire room fell into a terrifying silence, the weight of each word pressing down on the space. Daniels shifted uncomfortably, his eyes avoiding looking at the floor. Quote, Elena approached the edge of the podium. Officer Daniels, please step up here. Daniels swallowed hard, stepping onto the platform with a pale face. Elena looked straight into his eyes, unwavering. Your behavior this morning was not only a personal insult but also an insult to the entire force. You are hereby suspended from duty immediately. Your badge and weapon will be confiscated. Daniels tried to protest, but Elena raised her hand to silence him. You will be subject to an internal investigation. If the allegations are confirmed, you will be terminated and may face criminal charges. Daniels lowered his head, saying nothing. He stepped back, looking at his former colleagues, who were now looking at him with unfamiliar eyes. He walked out of the meeting room, never to return. Quote, Elena declared loudly, this is the price to pay for unethical behavior. Remember, respect is the foundation of our force. Lack of respect is a betrayal of our values. I will not tolerate actions that undermine public trust. From today, respect is the guiding principle. Anyone who does not comply will face the consequences. If Elena's story touched you, please do 3 things. Like this video to let YouTube know that stories of integrity and justice need to be shared more widely. Subscribe to this channel to join us for stories that change our perspectives and touch our hearts. And most importantly, leave a comment below. Share your own story, or simply a thought after watching. It's an affirmation that truth and justice are not privileges. They are the rights of us all. Elena's journey at the police station may have just begun.